Wolverines!
If you've ever loaded your flick down with 1,000,000 magazines because you thought you were going to end up in a never-ending gunfight, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Welcome back to the Trench Grenade channel. I am your host, the average, reasonable, basic combat loadout enjoyer that your mom said we have at home. Thanks for watching. Guys, the purpose of today's video is I'm going to give you two loadout, I guess, descriptions, if you will, or breakdowns with a handgun and without a handgun. Rifle with a handgun, a rifle without a handgun. Talk about the do's and do nots of basic kit setup, and just kind of rant at you guys and talk to you guys a little bit. What I've noticed in the gun tube space on YouTube is a lot of your favorite content creators are having a life and they're out with their family and actually doing what good husbands, fiancés, boyfriends do, right, Nighthawk?
Yep.
And they are spending time not uploading. So I will fill the void and talk to you guys and not leave you abandoned like all your other YouTubers are doing. So if you appreciate the content, join the Patreon, give me a measly $5 a month, and I will DM you a link to the Discord server where you'll have to put up with me ranting at you some more on Tarkov or Warzone or whatever, Hell Let Loose, whatever we're playing that night. So go over there and join the Patreon. Thanks for doing that, and thank you to my Patreon members. All right, so the hotly contested debate. This video may go for, I'm guessing, 15 to 20 minutes. You already know because you already clicked the video, but I'm just gonna rant to you guys about some kit setup things, and magazines will be the underlying, I guess, message, but just some kit setup stuff that I've seen over the years. Any words of wisdom, Nighthawk, before I get into the discussion?
Nope, because I'm not paying attention.
Okay, good. I was just talking about in general. She's hangry. So am I.
We're on a cut, and I'm super angry.
We're on a cut, and we just did an hour of cardio, and I'm way in a deficit today, and I think you're in a pretty big deficit for the past few days.
Yep.
More than planned. So we are going to get some tacos. I think I'm going to get some brisket with some queso. It's going to be a good time. What are you going to get?
I want a shrimp taco and like whitefish. Like, I'm a big seafood person, so
Why's it got to be whitefish? Ridiculous. Anyway, we're on the way. We're going to get some tacos, but let's talk about kit setup. So first and foremost, I've had a lot of soldiers that want to put a knife on their kit. This looks really cool in Call of Duty, but probably should keep the knife out of the kit. Definitely is not a need to have. Most of the time, I would say almost every time actually, all you're going to use your knife for is cutting 550 cord, that's paracord, cutting 100-mile-an-hour tape, opening MREs, sharpening a stick because you're bored in the patrol base, etc., right? So if you guys are carrying a knife on your kit, probably can repurpose that area to just keep it free of, you know, any excess bulk or whatever. So definitely don't need a knife on your kit. All these little, you know, tidbits that we're going to talk about today about kit setup and magazine selection, how many magazines. That's yes, the magazine thing is going to be like the main part, but don't get so caught up in it because there's so many other pitfalls that you can fall into. So a knife on the kit, even though in the intro video you saw me have like that K-bar on the shoulder, that's for the memes, guys. You don't need a knife on your kit. So if you have a knife on your kit right now, it should probably not be there. Okay, you're probably not going to get in a knife battle and fight it out, you know, with a dude that has a rifle or a handgun, right? You're probably not, that's probably not going to happen. So generally speaking, all the tomahawks and knives need to come off the kit. Other issues, not having a hydration system on your flick. Everything I'm talking about today can either be body armor or chest rig, but when I'm thinking, you know, as I'm kind of explaining this, I'm kind of focusing this more around chest rig setup, not necessarily body armor, but all the rules apply, right? You don't need a knife on your body armor. You need to have water. So hydration systems that work for me, Camelback obviously works the best if you're not in a Arctic environment or cold weather environment because it freezes. The hose will freeze. But what works the best for convenience is a Nalgene bottle. Have 2 Nalgene bottles in your rucksack or your assault pack, and have 1 Nalgene bottle on your actual flick, okay, your chest rig. If I say flick, that means fighting load carrier. That's interchangeable with the phrase chest rig. But yeah, so I'm just getting the right lane so I can rant at you guys some more. So having a water source. A lot of guys will have a million magazines. They'll have their handgun. They'll have a Gerber. That's a multi-tool. They'll have a ton of stuff on their kit, but they won't have a water source, and that's an automatic no-go. So 1 quart of water accessible at all times is going to be just a baseline. So no knives, have a water source. 2 general purpose grenade pouches is typically recommended for modern times. That is 2024, because hand grenades are a thing. A lot of guys are they're discounting the fact that hand grenades are going to be a factor in most fights. Even here in the United States, if the Chinese army invades tomorrow, or if a tyrannical government were to take over or take control, there's going to be hand grenades everywhere, and you're going to want to be able to carry them. So having 2 M67 grenade pouches is going to be huge. What else can I tell you about kit before we get into the magazine stuff? Keeping it simple, reliable, and repeatable. So you should be able to throw your kit across the room and not have things go flying out everywhere. Retention is a huge thing that is often overlooked. So having your kit that's set up that is simple, reliable, and repeatable, you should be able to pick up your body armor or your flick, your chest rig, and throw it across the room and not see magazines, Gerbers, your water source, etc. Everything should be tied down or should be retained. So if you have magazines, your magazines should be retained. If you have a Nalgene bottle or a canteen, it should be retained. Obviously, if you have a grenade, it should not be retained. And if you have a grenade, that's a discussion for another day. But make sure your kit, all the excess straps are S-folded. So if you roll one way, you roll the opposite way, then it's called S-folding, right? So make sure all of your excess straps are S-folded and taped up or retained with a retainer band. I prefer 100 mile an hour tape, because once I find a good spot, I like to just tape it in place and leave it there. Okay, magazines. So there's 2 different types of loadouts, if you will. That's going to be with a handgun or without a handgun. All you guys should be rocking a AR-15. If you're in the United States and you're doing this and you're watching this channel for actual Minecraft purposes, where you're going to have to apply it in your Hell Let Loose server, then you need to be using an AR-15, because there's going to be magazines everywhere, ammunition everywhere, interchangeable parts. Everyone around you is going to be using the same system, so etc. Right? So you'll be able to use whatever they're using if you find them in your Hell Let Loose server, right? So when you're rocking a AR-15, you're going to be in one of 2 camps: 5 rifle magazines or 7 rifle magazines. Now keep in mind, the ammunition you bring to the fight is the ammunition you bring to the fight. Well, obviously, but that's often overlooked. 5 magazines goes really quick. But a lot of these high-speed operator guys that you're watching are going to tell you that 3+1 or 4+1 mags got them through 47,000 years in GWAT. That's cool. That's because they were landing 300 meters away from the objective, or they were landing very close or driving very close to an objective. They had infantry support to allow them to kick in the door and do the things that they needed to do, and then they only needed 4 or 5 magazines, right? But generally speaking, your minimum threshold of magazines is going to be 5 rifle magazines, but that's going to include 2 handgun magazines. Now, when we talk about magazines, you generally don't want to include the one that's in the carbine or in the handgun. So obviously your rifle will already have a magazine in it, and your handgun will already have a magazine in it. So general rule of thumb is going to be 5 rifle, 2 handgun. Okay, if you're rocking a handgun, that is going to be if you are doing more urban fighting, and you're going to need to be able to access, have a last-ditch effort, i.e. a handgun. Now, I can tell you right now, for the vast majority of dudes that have put people in the ground, i.e. infantry dudes, anybody that has done this for 12-month or 15-month deployments, or stayed in the field for more than the 5-hour mission set that Special Operations does, for those guys, you're going to be carrying 7 to 10 magazines with no handgun, because the handgun is very, yes, it has a role for that last ditch option for most guys, but the vast majority of the time that thing is just going to be a paperweight on your hip that is, you know, retained and gathering actual dirt. Do I want to take this exit or keep going straight?
Keep going.
Keep going straight, okay. So that handgun is going to live on your hip. It's going to be retained in a level 2 or level 3 retention holster. It will be accumulating dirt, sand, mud, whatever, and you're never going to use it, right? So for most of you guys that are watching this and you're trying to set up a kit for your WROL, you know, system, I would always rather have more rifle magazines than a handgun on my hip if I'm doing a standard infantryman's job. Okay, if I'm just operating by myself, you're gonna die, by the way, if you're by yourself. But if I'm operating with, you know, we'll say 4 people or 5 people, if everyone just has rifles, I would rather them have a couple extra rifle magazines than a handgun on their hip, right? So generally speaking, there's going to be two camps, right? 5 rifle, 2 handgun, or 7 to 10, that area, 7 being the minimum, 10 being kind of the maximum. 7 to 10 magazines, you know, because you got to factor in hydration, food, sustainment, such as, you know, a poncho, a waffle top, etc., things to keep you alive outside of the fight. So if you're looking at your body armor right now or your chest rig and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do, 5 rifle, 2 handgun, or no handgun with 7 magazines to 10 magazines. Now when we get into the 10 magazine, you can have 4 of those magazines in your assault pack. Even when you're rocking 7 magazines, if all you're rocking is just your rifle and 7 magazines, you can retain half of those in your assault pack. Because if you're out there and you have a 48-hour assault pack, you don't need every magazine directly accessible. You need, you know, 4 to 5 of them directly accessible, but you don't need to have 10 magazines directly accessible. That's why you have an assault pack, okay? And I think that's often overlooked because guys will go out here and they'll build out these, you know, plate carrier setups or chest rig setups with so much on the front of the kit setup or so much on their body that it will weigh them down or restrict their range of motion. Even though you're carrying a ton of magazines, you still need to treat your chest rig setup or body armor like you're an athlete. Okay, so just let me know whenever the exit's coming up.
That's next one.
Okay, so you still need to treat your kit setup like you're an athlete. So having 5 magazines accessible, that's more than enough, and then you can work out of your assault pack, right? Because you don't want to look like that dude, that meme from that dude in Iraq that had like 47 magazines on his front and couldn't move at all. That's what you guys look like when you try to stack up magazines all over your body, okay? All right, I've ranted at you guys enough. If you want more, I guess, just ranting about kit setup on my way to get tacos, post it down below. Make sure you guys are staying active during your vacation. I know a lot of you guys are probably traveling for vacation as you watch this video. So make sure you're staying active. Make sure you're still getting your 10,000 steps. Have fun. Be safe. Keep in mind of your surroundings and all the stuff we always talk about on the channel. But remember, use this holiday season to really relax. I know everyone always says that, but use this time to really reflect and relax and focus on what your goals are going into 2025. Surround yourself by people during this break that you actually appreciate, not fake people. There's so many fake friends out there and stuff. So use this time to really reflect on the things you got done in 2024 and what you want to get done in 2025, and realize that change takes time. You're not going to change the world or your life in a day. So, just be cool, right? Just be cool, relax, take a chill pill, use this time to reflect. And if you guys need anything, you can always hit me up on Instagram if you're going through a tough time. I know there's some guys watching this that are going through tough financial times, or they got people, friends or family that may be in and out of the hospital, or just going through, some medical stuff. If you guys need anything, well, you can always reach out to me, and I'll try to check my DMs on Instagram. occasionally throughout the holiday season. So if you need anything from me, hit me up, and I'll try to be there for you guys. But if you need a community, you can always join the Patreon. Shameless promotion, I know, but there's a ton of guys in our Patreon community that look after each other. Yeah, we give each other a hard time, but there's a ton of dudes in the Patreon, or in the Discord server, through the Patreon, I guess, that, they keep each other accountable. They keep it light, and they understand that that's a good tactical community, but it's a good group of dudes that have a similar mindset that can help you in your journey to being a better person, right? So I guess I use this magazine rant and kit setup video to just thank you guys, thank my Patreon members, if you need a resource of like-minded individuals that can help you if you're going through some stuff, or just be a good community for you, go over there and get in the Discord server. And I think at least one guy watching this will get some benefit out of that rant. All right, guys, I'm done ranting at you. I'm going to spend some time with my fiance, actually eating some tacos, playing some chess, maybe having a couple beverages, and just, relaxing, actually relaxing, and, being grateful for what we have, right?
Correct.
Okay, so be grateful for what you guys got. If you don't got a lot, then I guess do better, or I don't know, man. Everyone's got something. People might say, oh, I'm poor right now and I don't got anything. Well, this content is free, so you get to torment yourself with the sound of my voice in the Mustang. So be upset, be tormented by the sound of my voice. Anyway, thanks for being here for the channel. Thanks for hanging out, guys. And until next time, this will be Trench Grenade and Nighthawk. Your average, don't do too many mags, because it's going to overload your kit, and taco enjoyers that your mom said we have at home, signing out. Cheers. Have a Merry Christmas and be safe. Wolverines!